I'm joined here today with Simon Adams, Managing Director of PRD Technologies. Welcome, Simon, and thank you for joining me. So your solution, Intelligent Billing, simplifies and automates the billing process. Can you tell me a little bit more about how it works?
So Intelligent Billing is the name of the product. PRD Technologies is the name of the business. So we do billing, basically. So our traditional market, for example, is telecoms billing. So when you get a phone bill at the end of each month, at the beginning of a month, and everything on the phone bill, all your line rentals, or your bundles, your packages, all the phone calls, if you wondered how that, how that's calculated, why it's there, how it's able to calculate the overusage or the price, that's the technology we do. So we're behind that sort of technology. We offer that technology. Same with all the Azure, all the consumption billing that now goes on, or the Microsoft licensing, or the, it's all consumable data. So companies really struggle to analyse that through spreadsheets. We can do it, but it takes a long time. So we automate that process. We had one company come to us quite recently, and they reckon it saves about 300 hours a month. That's a managed service provider in the reselling Microsoft cloud services with all the pro-ratering and everything. So yeah, we automate, we collect data, we automate the processes where possible. We integrate into all companies' third-party systems. There shouldn't be any duplication of entry. So the chances are they use an accounting system. So when the bill runs are done, it automatically uploads all the information into accounting. Same with CRM systems. And yeah, there should be no duplication of entry. So we eliminate all the billing challenges, and that's pretty much the remit, and that's what Intelligent Billing does.
So to date, you've primarily supported telecoms businesses and managed service providers, but you're now looking to extend your reach into the print and IT channel. There are undoubtedly a lot of synergies in how products are consumed in both sectors. So how can you help MPS and print providers simplify and automate this business critical function?
Well, it can help modernise. We do get a feedback we've had in discussions and so on. It's just lagging a little bit on the technology side of using technologies. It seems that a lot of businesses still rely on spreadsheets and using alternative traditional methods. So we could totally modernise that process and transform most businesses. So, for example, in telecoms billing, in fact, it's really similar, whether it's telecoms, managed service providers or print. It's just the data formats that's different. So we could process any management information file, whether that's through CSV files or whether that's through APIs. But yeah, there's a huge amount of similarity. So you've got a portal, you set up your customers, you set up all the price points, whatever contracts you negotiated with that customer. Your sales team shouldn't be restricted by billing. You should be able to go out and sell anything. But we don't see a huge amount of differences. So if you've got a business, they've got different sites, it's the same principles. If they've got multi-currency requirements, because our system can bill for foreign currencies and support the local taxes, all the bundles or the packages, all the overusage, it calculates all that. So it's just the data formats that's different. So traditionally our customers are telcos, managed service providers, but we're now beginning to see a little bit of print coming through. It's just lagging other industries a little bit. So we've spoken to a few companies, and what we found with telecoms, you cannot survive without a billing platform. It's virtually impossible to do it. It's just too much calculations to do. You can't manually calculate hundreds of thousand calls a month. With the print industry, you can get by without, through traditional spreadsheet methods, but it takes time. So what we could do is eliminate typically 3-4 days, maybe 5 days, and get that down to absolutely zero, or maybe a few hours. So.
It's quite a strong message to...
It is. So, like in the print, what we discovered, it is quite similar, because you maybe, have deals where you have 500 sheets free, but anything above that, it's all bundled and all packages, and, and that's where we come in and automatically calculate that for you. Whatever price a bundles package agreed with your customers, then we could process that, together with all the fixed items as well, if you want to do that.
So you recently onboarded PAE Business as a new customer. I think that was your first in the print space. So how's that partnership working out today?
Yeah, really good actually, and they're really nice people. They're pretty much on the forefront of the print IT industry, but they wanted to carry that philosophy through in their back office. So they looked at us, and then we were able to streamline their bidding processes. So they used to spend about 4 or 5 days, I think, per month. Now we got that down to about an hour. So So there's a lot of benefits there. One is by using our system, rather than invoices going out later in the month, they go out early, so that's debtor days. I used that example early with that MS managed service provider company. We saved about 300 hours a month. Invoices should go out at the end of the month. Considering they're billing about £400,000 a month, suddenly they're not invoicing at the end of the month, at the beginning of the month. So they're bringing forward £400,000 worth of cash flow by 3 weeks. And not only that, but it's all the manual work that goes with it. It's labour intensive, it's boring, it's high error rate, and that affects your reputation too. So we managed to eliminate that for PAE. But they had quite a lot of challenges. Not only was it very manually driven, but it's compounded the fact they got 700 VAR partners. Those 700 VAR partners require a subscription cost data. That was all manually done. We automatically do that for the partners. It's all bespoke for individual partners. So once it's set up in the portal, it just repeats itself. So you eliminate that process. Another thing with PAE, they also have huge presence overseas as well, different regions, so they're able to support multiple currency, particularly in Holland, they got a big presence there. So we could generate, the statements, the bills, the outputs in Dutch, we could translate it, we had translation functionalities, it supports local taxes, it supports euros. So
that must save hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, I mean, we have customers who use our platform for Australia, so it's not VAT, it's GST, South Africa, America, which is really complex because in England it's simple, you either got VAT, 20%, zero or exempt. So in America you've got your municipal taxes, interstate taxes, federal taxes, county taxes, that needs calculated, but we could support that. So our systems are totally multiple currencies, so if you've got different divisions, subsidiaries, then we could do that.
So for print resellers that are delivering pan-European or even global MPS deployments, you can support them to streamline that billing throughout all geographies.
Yes. Yeah. So we have capabilities, we can set up different invoice groups, so you have subsidiary billing, so if you've got different subsidiaries, whether it's here in the UK or overseas with different branding, it all supports that. That could be managed off a single portal.
So am I right in thinking that the data, in this case it would be the meter read data from devices in field, that data comes into your system, you process, analyse that, and then streamline and automate the entire billing end to end.
Yeah, and it can be multiple sources, and it can be multiple sources from different industries as well, if you want to put everything, and we converge it all onto one invoice. But that's essentially what we do. So at the end of the month, it might be a file, or we can API into the system. What we can also do is auto-collect the data. So when the data is ready at 2 o'clock in the morning, our system will automatically collect it and process it without anybody having to do anything. So we try and streamline the entire process. It comes with all the revenue assurances as well. So if there's data that the system's not been able to process, it'll then generate reports to highlight it so they can investigate why. And that way you should be able to then make sure that every item on the data file is actually invoiced for. So all the controls, all the checks and everything. PA, they had multiple currency requirements. Another requirement that's really important for them was also, as a business, we needed to be 27001 accredited because data is really important, so that's a prerequisite. Some companies sort of get by saying the IT environment's ISO 27000 supported, but they're not, but we are, we had to be. And we have the IT security teams as well as teams that manage that. So that's a key consideration.
So interesting. PA Business is your first customer in our space, as we've already said. How did you first meet them?
We met them at the Technology Live event, and it's the first event after COVID. So of course we're all desperate to get out, so we decided to exhibit. So, just gave a lot of exhibitors an opportunity to chat with each other, and that's what we did. And PE came over, and we just had a casual chat about a few things, and that led to a little bit more. And then they asked, do we do anything in PrintIT? At the time we said no. So they effectively introduced us to the industry. For that, we are really, really grateful. They're really good people to work with. We worked with them for about 5-6 months now, and I don't think a ticket's been raised even, it just works.
That's incredible.
And they did have quite strict reporting requirements as well, so it comes with all the heat maps, so you can see the profitability at company level, all the gross margins, also at product level, so salespeople could concentrate on what makes the most return. So our system produced all the heat maps, so you can see all the, how it grows throughout the year in comparison, and that's what they wanted, and that's what we delivered, and we're really grateful for them.
Brilliant.
Really nice people, and they are.
you made the point that your billing software integrates with other third-party systems. So does that mean that resellers can collect, process and analyse the data that they collect from their devices in the field and then integrate that into their usual accounting software, Sage, Xero, to then generate the invoices?
Yes, it can do. So a lot of companies, and we prefer it this way, use us to end-to-end. What I mean by that, well, our system will then collect the data from the data sources. In telcos, it'd be a switch. It could be Microsoft for Azure data, Google for Google Cloud. Our system will then process everything, and then it will release the invoices as well. So there's invoice functionality. So you can send invoices to your customers, please find attached to invoice, or like with your phone bill, you go to end customer portal. From there, you can log in, and retrieve your invoice. And you can analyse the data. So we call that end-to-end, where we did a whole process. So we do that. What we're finding a little bit in the managed service space, and possibly in the PrintIT space as well, is that some companies use invoice functionality that's supporting their accounting systems and also in their CRM systems. But there's a big difference between invoicing systems and functionality, and what we do is billing. But they still want to use those systems, so we then generate the output so we call that black box. So we will then process the data, and where we come, it's all the variable data that goes up and down, all the consumable data. Traditional invoice systems can't deal with that. They're not designed for that. They're just designed for static, repeatable, like line rental or whatever particular print service might be. But what we do is all the consumption. So some companies use us purely as a black box, not end-to-end. We will collect that data, process it, generate the output that then goes into, for example, ConnectWise or Xero or Sage or Autotask or Microsoft Dynamics, because they still want to use that as their invoicing system. Some companies have gone that route, but then when they've found out, discovered, they learned a bit more about us and what we do, it's actually gone the other way, where they're taking everything out of those systems and they use us for end-to-end. But when the bill runs incomplete, that data still needs to go into the accounting system or CRM, for instance. So there shouldn't be any duplications of entry, and then our system will then, because you're already exporting to Sage, whatever it might be, or DD collections. We work with Go Carless, for instance. So we work with most of them. So when you've got your DDs, banking collections, there's no duplication of entries or anything. So, and we Go Carless, and we got the API. So if a direct debit is rejected, it automatically sends a message back to our billing system to basically say it is still a debtor.
Right.
This wasn't collected. So I think from that you get a feel for how automated the platform potentially is and what we could do and just eliminate all that sort of work that goes around it.
Yeah.
But we recognise now that most companies, there's so many third-party systems. So we're best of breed billing. We don't do CRM because there's so many companies doing it. We don't do accounting, let them concentrate on that instead. We do what we do, which we really, we're good at it. That's the feedback we're getting. We're not, But then we get these systems talking to each other. So we sit in the middle and we push and pull data. Yeah. And it just pretty much automates the process.
Simon, thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks. And that's been a really interesting conversation. Is there anything else you'd like to add that we haven't covered?
A lot of companies don't know about us. And when they do, they often say, we wish a year ago we discovered you. For example, we deal with a lot of West Coast Cloud, for instance, is a huge company. Yes. So one of the biggest IT distribution companies in the UK, and they use us for all the Azure stuff, all the but they didn't know we did PrintIT. And of course, what's happening? A lot of them provide these sorts of services as well, as do Exertis, Arrow, and what was Tech Data, and they do that. So we just want to get that message out there a little bit that to us it is just data. We could process virtually everything. But what I want to also add, I think I mentioned earlier, we're ISO 27001, which is really critical, ISO 9000, so it takes security really importantly. We are also, I'd say, national, we win national awards at the national level. And in terms of the capabilities and the power of what we do, we process about 5 billion transactions every month. Wow. So one phone call is one transaction, one print item is one transaction. We do about 5 billion a month. And it generates billions of we generate billions of pounds worth of transactions, across our customer base. So, just gives an and we do whatever, we don't discriminate. We deal with what we call the bedroom resellers, one-man bands. So they have an out-the-box package that we can set up really quickly, all the way up to enterprise level. So West Coast, they're enterprise level, they have all their VARs, so we generate the data and we process about 120 million a year for them, down to single small resellers who might be generating a couple of £1,000 a month to us, their customers, and proud to have them all.
Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you for joining me today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Lots of really interesting points, and I'm sure that everything you've said will resonate quite strongly with the PrintIT channel. And do keep us posted of any news in your area.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. It's been a real pleasure.